The laugh was still on Esther's lips when she woke up. It felt strange, like waking in the middle of a joke that had already finished. The room was quiet, but not the calm kind of quiet. It was heavy, thick, like air that had been sitting too long. Light slipped through the half-open curtains and fell across the bed. The white sheets were twisted, messy, telling the story of the night before. Clothes lay everywhere, on the chair, on the floor, half hanging from the edge of the bed. Esther turned her head slowly. Richard was beside her. One arm was folded under his chest. His head was turned slightly to the side, lips parted like he had been about to say something and forgot. His eyes were closed. She smiled. "Richard," she whispered, her voice hoarse from sleep. No answer. She reached out and tapped his shoulder lightly. "Hey, wake up." Nothing. She laughed softly, the kind of laugh lovers use when they think the other person is pretending. "You're not funny," she said. She pushed him again, a little harder. His body rolled slightly, but that was all. No groan. No complaint. No lazy smile. The smile on Esther's face faded. She sat up. The room suddenly felt too big. "Richard." Her voice rose. She placed her hand on his chest. It was cold. Not cold like morning air. Cold like something that had forgotten how to be warm. Her breath caught. She leaned closer, watching his chest, waiting for it to rise. It didn't. She pressed her ear to him, listening. Nothing. No heartbeat, no breath, no life. "Richard," she screamed. She shook him violently now, panic breaking loose in her chest. "Richard, wake up. Wake up." His head flopped loosely from side to side. That was when fear turned into terror. She fell back, scrambling away from him, her back hitting the headboard. Her hands were shaking so badly she couldn't even grab the phone properly. "No, no, no," she kept saying, over and over, like if she said it enough times the moment would reverse itself. She jumped off the bed and ran to the bathroom, splashing water on her face, breathing hard, trying to calm herself. "He's just drunk," she told herself. He passed out. That's all. She rushed back to the bed and slapped his cheek. Hard. Nothing. She screamed again. The phone slipped from her sweaty hands and hit the floor. She picked it up and dialed the front desk with trembling fingers. "Hello?" A calm male voice answered. "My boyfriend, he's not waking up," she cried. "Please, help me." There was a pause. Stay calm. I will send someone." "Stay calm." She laughed hysterically and then started crying. 2 hotel staff arrived within minutes, followed by the manager, a middle-aged man with a neat beard and tired eyes. They checked Richard. One of them shook his head slowly. An ambulance was called. The siren came too late. The paramedic listened, checked, and finally looked at Esther with pity that felt like a slap. "I'm sorry," he said gently. "He's gone." The words didn't make sense. Gone where? He was right there. On the bed. Esther screamed and collapsed. When she came back to herself, the room had changed. Richard was covered with a white sheet. The bed was clean again, too clean, like it was pretending nothing had happened. Her eyes burned. Her head felt empty. The manager stood near the door. "I'm very sorry," he said. "We've contacted the police and the hospital. We also need to inform his family." She nodded numbly. She wanted to leave. She wanted to go anywhere that was not this room. She stood up, grabbed her bag, and headed for the door. The manager stepped in front of her. "I'm afraid you can't leave yet." She stared at him. "What? Not without him?" Her heart jumped. "What do you mean? You came together. You booked together. You must leave together." She felt dizzy. "He's dead." "Yes," the manager said calmly. "Which is why procedures must be followed." "I didn't kill him," she shouted. "We are not accusing you," he replied. "But you cannot abandon a body." She looked back at the bed. Richard. Dead. The police arrived shortly after. Questions were asked. Statements taken. Esther answered everything like she was watching someone else speak. Then came the family. Elizabeth arrived first. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She stood over Richard's body, stared at him for a long time, and then slowly turned her eyes to Esther. "You are the girl," she said flatly. Esther nodded. Elizabeth slapped her. The sound echoed in the room. "You slept with my son," Elizabeth said. It was not a question. Esther's knees buckled. "Yes," she whispered. Elizabeth's eyes hardened. "You will not carry him out like a thief," she said. "You touched him. You belong to him." Esther stared at her in disbelief. "He's dead," she said weakly. Elizabeth leaned closer. "Then you will marry him dead." The room went silent. Deborah burst in moments later, breathless, eyes red from crying. "What is going on?" she demanded. Elizabeth didn't look at her. "My son will not leave this world unmarried," she said. "This girl will marry him." Deborah laughed sharply. "You're joking." Elizabeth finally turned. "I'm not." The police exchanged uncomfortable glances. "This is cultural," Elizabeth added. "We will handle it." Esther felt trapped. Her life had collapsed into one sentence she never imagined hearing. "You will marry him dead." She tried to speak. No sound came out. Outside, the city moved on. Cars passed. People laughed. Life continued. Inside the hotel room, Esther's future closed in on her like a coffin. By evening, preparations had already begun. Elizabeth moved fast, like someone who had been waiting for this moment all her life. Calls were made. Relatives arrived. Traditions were mentioned like laws written in stone. Esther sat on a chair, staring at the floor. Deborah knelt beside her. "This is madness," Deborah whispered. "We'll stop it." Esther shook her head slowly. "They won't let me go," she said. "They said if I refuse, I'll be cursed." Deborah cursed under her breath. Elizabeth approached them. "You will bathe," she told Esther. "You will dress like a bride." "I don't want to," Esther said softly. Elizabeth's voice dropped. "You don't have a choice." Esther realized then that the worst part wasn't fear. It was helplessness. She was escorted out of the hotel, not as a free woman, but as a bride without a groom. Richard's body followed behind her. The sun was setting, and Esther felt like she was walking into a story that would never let her go. The first thing Esther noticed was the smell. Not perfume, not incense. Cold, sharp disinfectant mixed with something older, dust and grief. Richard's family house stood tall behind a black iron gate, the kind of house that announced wealth without trying too hard. Big compound. Silent walls. Curtains drawn like the house itself was mourning. The car stopped. Esther didn't move. Elizabeth opened the door herself. "Come down," she said. Esther stepped out slowly. Her legs felt weak, like they didn't belong to her anymore. Behind her, another vehicle arrived. Richard. Or what was left of him. Wrapped. Silent. Heavy. A neighbor peeked from behind a curtain. Another stood pretending to sweep the compound. News traveled fast in the city. By the time Esther entered the house, everyone already knew. Inside, women sat on the floor whispering. Some stopped when they saw Esther. Some stared openly. One woman shook her head and murmured, "So this is her." Another whispered, "She looks too small for all this trouble." Esther felt naked without being naked. Deborah squeezed her hand. "I'm here," she whispered. "Don't look at them." Elizabeth clapped her hands once. "Enough," she said. "Prepare her." Prepare her. Like an object. Two older women led Esther into a back room. The room was bright. Too bright. Wedding clothes were laid out neatly on the bed. White lace. Red beads. Gold jewelry. Esther's chest tightened. "I can't wear this," she said quietly. One of the women sighed. "My daughter, don't make this harder." Harder. They undressed her gently but firmly. Bathed her. Oiled her skin. Wrapped her hair. Esther stared at her reflection. She looked like a bride. But her eyes looked like someone attending her own funeral. In the living room, Richard's body lay in a coffin. Open. Elizabeth stood beside it, touching his forehead softly. "My son," she whispered. "You will not go alone." Emily stood in the corner. Richard's younger sister. She hadn't cried much since morning. Her eyes followed everything quietly, like she was watching a play she didn't understand. When Esther was brought out, dressed fully, the room went silent. Someone gasped. Someone else laughed nervously. Deborah muttered, "This is insane." Esther was led to stand beside the coffin. She couldn't look at Richard. If she did, she knew she would scream. The traditional elder cleared his throat. "We are gathered," he said slowly, "to correct what death interrupted." Correct. As if death was a small mistake. Elizabeth nodded. Proceed. The rites began. Questions were asked. "Do you accept this woman?" Silence. The elder nodded. "He accepts." "Do you accept this man?" Esther's lips trembled. Deborah squeezed her hand harder. Everyone stared. The room waited. Esther swallowed. "Yes," she whispered. The word tasted like blood. Beads were placed on her neck. Money exchanged hands. Bride price counted. A marriage completed. To a dead man. Someone clapped. Someone else laughed again, louder this time, quickly covering their mouth. A woman whispered, "God forgive us." Elizabeth stood tall, proud. "My son is now a husband," she said. Esther felt something break inside her. Later that night, Richard was buried. No long speeches. No music. Just earth hitting wood. Esther stood beside the grave in her bridal clothes, now dusty, watching soil cover the man she loved. Or thought she loved. Deborah cried openly. Emily stared at the grave, her face pale. Elizabeth threw the first handful of sand. "It is finished," she said. But it wasn't. Because Esther didn't feel free. She felt owned. After the burial, Esther was led back into the house. Not as a guest. As a widow. Her room was prepared. Elizabeth entered with food and set it down. "You will stay here," she said. "You are family now." Esther looked up. "For how long?" Elizabeth's lips curved slightly. "Forever, if necessary." The door closed. Esther sat on the bed, staring at the food. She didn't touch it. She lay down in her wedding clothes and cried until her body had no strength left. Outside, the city slept peacefully. Inside, a woman had become a wife and a widow in one day. The sickness came quietly. At first, Esther thought it was grief. She woke up every morning with a heavy head, a dry mouth, and a body that felt like it had been beaten in her sleep. Food smelled strange. Even water made her stomach turn. Elizabeth noticed immediately. "You are not eating," she said one morning, watching Esther push the plate away. "I'm not hungry," Esther replied. Elizabeth frowned. A widow must be strong. Widow. The word still felt foreign in Esther's mouth. Deborah visited whenever she could. She brought jokes, gossip, anything to remind Esther that life still existed outside the walls of the house. One afternoon, as they sat on the bed, Deborah studied Esther closely. "You've lost weight," she said. "And you look different." Esther sighed. "I don't sleep." Deborah shook her head. "This is not only sleep." That night, Esther threw up for the first time. She knelt beside the toilet, shaking, emptying her stomach until there was nothing left. Elizabeth stood at the doorway, arms crossed. "You are sick," she said. "I think it's stress," Esther replied weakly. Elizabeth didn't answer. She only watched. The next morning, Elizabeth handed Esther a wrapper. "Dress up," she said. "We're going to the hospital." Esther froze. "Why?" Elizabeth's eyes were sharp. "Because my son's wife does not fall sick without reason." At the hospital, the nurse asked routine questions. "Are you married?" "Yes," Elizabeth answered quickly. The nurse smiled at Esther. "Congratulations." The word made Esther's chest tighten. Tests were done. Blood taken. Waiting. Deborah paced the corridor, arms folded. "This is nonsense," she muttered. "They can't control your body too." The doctor finally called them in. Elizabeth sat straight. Esther's hands were shaking. The doctor smiled politely. "You are pregnant." The room went silent. Esther laughed. A short, broken laugh that startled everyone. "That's not possible," she said. "My husband is dead." The doctor hesitated. Elizabeth leaned forward. "How far along?" "About 6 weeks," the doctor replied. Deborah's mouth fell open. Elizabeth closed her eyes slowly. Then she smiled. "My son lives," she said softly. Esther felt dizzy. "No," she whispered. "No, no, no." The doctor cleared his throat. "There's more." Esther looked up. "You're carrying twins." The world tilted. Deborah grabbed Esther before she fell. Twins. 2 lives. Inside her. From a man already buried. On the way home, Elizabeth was unusually quiet. At the house, she called a family meeting. Relatives gathered. Whispers filled the room. Elizabeth stood before them like a queen. "My son left seeds," she announced. "Twins." Gasps. Praise. Someone shouted, "God is great." Esther sat on the floor, numb. "She must stay," Elizabeth continued. "Those children belong here." Deborah jumped up. "She's not property." Elizabeth turned slowly. "Neither are the children yours." The argument exploded. Culture versus choice. Tradition versus sanity. Esther watched it all like it was happening to someone else. That night, she went to the grave. She sat on the ground, holding her stomach. "I don't know how this happened," she whispered. "But now, I'm tied to you forever." A soft breeze passed. No answer. Only silence. Rumors spread. Some people called it a blessing. Others called it a curse. Pregnant widow. Twin heirs. Elizabeth's grip tightened. Emily watched quietly. One evening, Emily entered Esther's room. "You didn't plan this," she said softly. Esther shook her head. "I know," Emily continued. "And neither did my brother." Esther looked at her. "What do you mean?" Emily hesitated. But she didn't finish. She left, leaving Esther with a question she wasn't ready to ask. Her stomach fluttered. Life moving, growing, in a body that hadn't finished grieving. Labor began at dawn. Esther had not slept the whole night. Her back ached in a way that made breathing feel like work. When the first sharp pain cut through her lower stomach, she knew immediately. It wasn't fear she felt. It was acceptance. She sat up slowly, one hand pressed against her belly. "So this is it," she whispered. Another pain came, stronger. Elizabeth was already awake when Esther cried out. "It's time," Elizabeth said calmly, like she had been waiting for this moment for months. The house came alive. Cars started. Doors opened. Voices rose. Deborah arrived within minutes, hair wrapped hastily, eyes wide with worry. "I'm here," she said, holding Esther's hand. "You're not doing this alone." Esther smiled weakly. "I never thought I'd say this, but thank you for not giving up on me." At the hospital, nurses moved fast. Questions were asked. Answers given. Any complications? "She's carrying twins." Eyebrows raised. Elizabeth stood proudly. "Richard's children." The contractions worsened. Pain swallowed everything else. Esther screamed. She cried. She begged. At one point, between waves of pain, she laughed. A dry, broken laugh. "Imagine this story," she gasped to Deborah. "A woman marries a corpse and gives birth to his children." Deborah's eyes filled with tears. "Don't joke. Just breathe." Hours later, the first cry filled the room. A baby girl. Then another cry. A boy. Twins. Alive. Strong. The nurse placed them gently on Esther's chest. In that moment, everything changed. The room disappeared. The past faded. There was no Richard. No marriage. No tradition. Only 2 tiny lives breathing against her skin. Esther cried, not from pain, but from something close to peace. Elizabeth arrived soon after. She stared at the babies like they were gold. "My son's blood," she whispered. She reached out to touch them. Esther pulled back. The movement shocked everyone. Elizabeth frowned. "What are you doing?" Esther looked at her calmly. I carried them, she said. I nearly died bringing them into this world. They are not objects. Elizabeth's eyes hardened. They belong to this family. Esther shook her head slowly. They belong to me. The room froze. Emily stood quietly by the door, watching. Elizabeth straightened. You forget who paid your bride price. That was when Esther sat up fully, pain forgotten. I didn't choose that marriage, she said. I was forced. I was threatened. I was trapped. Silence. Deborah held her breath. Emily stepped forward. Mother, Emily said softly. Enough. Elizabeth turned sharply. Stay out of this. No, Emily replied. You said he must marry her because of tradition. Elizabeth lifted her chin. Yes. Emily's voice trembled. Then you should also tell them why you were so desperate. Everyone turned. What do you mean? Elizabeth snapped. Emily swallowed. Richard was sick. Esther's heart skipped. Sick how? Deborah asked. Emily looked at Esther apologetically. He collapsed that night because he had stopped his medication. He was hiding it. He didn't want anyone to know. Elizabeth's face drained of color. The doctors said he wouldn't live long anyway, Emily continued. Mother knew. She wanted him married before he died. That's why she pushed so hard. The truth dropped like a bomb. Esther felt sick. So, even if he didn't die that night, she said slowly, this was always the plan. Elizabeth said nothing. Her silence was answer enough. Something inside Esther finally broke free. She laughed. Not hysterically. Clearly. Sadly. You didn't force me to marry him because of honor, she said. You did it because you were afraid of losing control. Elizabeth slapped her. Deborah moved forward instantly. But Esther didn't flinch. She only looked at Elizabeth and said quietly, I'm done. 2 weeks later, Esther left the house. She took her children. Elizabeth threatened curses. Relatives begged. But Esther walked away. She moved into a small apartment. Deborah helped. Life was hard. Money was tight. Sleep was rare. But the house felt like air. One evening, Esther stood by the window, holding her twins. She thought of Richard. Not with anger. Not with love. With clarity. He was a chapter. Not her destiny. One careless night can chain a woman for life. Tradition without compassion becomes cruelty. Love without responsibility leaves wounds behind. But even after the darkest mistake, life can still begin again, if you choose courage over fear. The end.